Breathe in. Welcome to What the Fuchs with Jess Fuchs. Now breathe out. And scream. Because here's what's pissed Jess off this week. Alright, we are rocking with natural sunlight for this first episode of this podcast because the electricity on my street is, say it with me, being renovated or fixed or whatever the appropriate word is that I am not aware of. So, this is what we're doing. Hello, you think for a first episode you're going to come in hot and everything's going to be perfect and all this stuff? No, not me. For this first episode of What the Fuchs, we're just rocking with natural sunlight coming through the window and a battery that has been charged, thank God, last night. And whenever that battery on this camera and this microphone runs out, that's the episode length. We could not be recording for all I know. I don't really know. I went to have a shower so that I look really good for the video because now podcasts come with video. Did you know that? That a podcast, which is about hearing you, is also now about seeing you. And I was going to look disgusting in my gym gear, but then I thought, Jess, it's the first one. You gotta actually try to make them think you look good in your voice, in your body. So I had a shower. Now, don't know if you know this. I, for some reason, didn't. Because the education system somehow failed me. I didn't realize the water would not be hot. Electricity is incredible. Did you guys know that? Electricity is amazing. Electricity controls the hot water as well as the lights. Whoever did electricity, congratulations. Let's hope they won a Nobel Peace Prize. Now, who do you think made the electricity? Who invented electricity? First word, Benjamin Franklin. Wasn't he a president? I'm maybe so stupid. Benjamin Franklin, president? If now that's it. Oh. He was the founding father of the United States of America who never served as its president. Well, that guy, yeah. Who wants to go down as a president when really you made everything in the world? I'd say electricity is the world. Okay, we've dived right in. Welcome. Okay, my name's Jess Fuchs. If you don't know me, which why would you be listening to this if you don't kind of know me, unless it's on a recommendation from a friend who already finished this episode, loved it, and was like, you got to listen, in which case, thank you. Hello. My name's Jess. I'm a comedian, but mostly I'm just an angry woman. So What the Fuchs is kind of just all the things that piss me off. We'll also have some segments where I listen to your anger and tell you if you should be more or less angry. We'll have some segments where I offer opinions, advice. It's covering the gamut. Surely that's it. The gambit. I don't want to Google a second thing within the first 30 seconds of me being with you because now you know how stupid I am. Cover the gamut. Okay, if you're ever not sure listening to this, what's happening, it means I'm Googling something. So it's cover the gamut. That sounds stupid. Well, we're going to cover the gamut of the emotion of anger because I love being angry. I know we live in a society where we believe now that you have to go to therapy and go to a boxing class or do all these things, meditate, whatever, pick your poison of how to fix our angry, our sad, our insert emotion here. But here's the thing, I actually love being angry. To me, there is something so sexy and fun about anger. My vision gets clearer, my speech gets, well, right now it's failing me, but when I'm angry, I become articulate and everything is just so delicious and warm. Nothing makes me happier than being angry. You figure that out because my therapist can't. So we're just going to chit chat and talk shit about all the things that really piss me off. And you know what? There might be some odd thrown in thing here or there. Sure, why not? But at the end of the day, each episode is just me talking absolute shit. Now, there is much to tell you. Maybe I'll give some life updates too, but really the life updates will come in the form of the anger updates because that's how my week has passed me. We're going to dive in because there's really no time like the present to just jump into some of these anger points. I want to start with a really soft one. a really soft, simple one. And it happened recently because I went to my sister's house, right? Now, I'm going to give you devil's advocate right out the gate, so you know I'm not a huge bitch. I am a bitch, but not a huge bitch. She's got a child, so fair enough, some things are falling through the cracks. We'll give her a couple points right out the gate on that front. However, and this is not exclusive to my sister, this happens to many people. I go to the bathroom and there's a toilet roll sitting on the top of the back of the toilet, and the toilet roll on the toilet handle is empty. Now you've gone, whoever you are, and I'm not going to say it's my sister. She also has a husband. She also has a 19, 20-month-old baby. That baby can walk around. Maybe that baby is doing this. The toilet paper runs out. You stand up, pants at your ankles, because you never know that a toilet paper is running out before you sit down. Okay? You've gotten up, you go get the toilet roll, and you put it behind you after using it? What? Just reflect on your choices. You are so close to putting that toilet roll on the toilet holder. Just boop, take the empty container, the empty roll off, put the freshie in. That set me off on a multi-day anger mania that is really, I don't know. Obviously, I shouldn't be so angry about something so small. That's something I'm not going to unpack. Why the rest of my life is making me so angry that little thing drove me to insanity. But that is a simple explanation of what this podcast really is. If you get a taste of what the next, 25, 30, 40, 50 minutes of this time together is going to be, it's that moment that person made a choice so wrong, so simply avoidable, that it made my blood turn red hot and boil over in anger. So that was the start of my week, right? That's just the start. And you know what I did in the past? I might not have changed it on principle, but in my late age, as I push 30 to 31, now I don't know if pushing means you're close to it or you're close from it, but I turned 31 in October. And maybe in the past I wouldn't have switched out the old role for the new one. Maybe I'm becoming soft in my old age because I am a petty person. Put it this way, if you and I have a fight, and you won't apologize, I'll leave the house hoping I die just so you regret your choice for the rest of your life. That's how much I care about being right and being petty, rather than going, well, Jess, whatever, that person won't excuse their behavior. You just keep rolling on in your life. No. But as I've gotten older, and I hate to say it, maybe matured, I don't think that's true. I now just let that anger kind of come in. I let that toilet paper anger just bubble inside of me. And I replace the old with the new. And maybe, I've gotten soft because my sister's got a baby and I've seen how hard that is. But man, it really pushed me in a way that really should be examined deeper. But for this first anger point, I actually refuse to look more inwards, if I'm really honest with you. And some of these points, I'll never look inward. And why should I? Why should I, to tell you the truth? Now, I have been spending a lot of time at my sister and her husband's house. I always do. It's fun, whether you're close with your siblings or not, I don't know. And the nice thing too is, so my sister's had a baby, and I've never really wanted kids. It's not something I want. The only thing that I have been thinking a little bit more about recently is who will look after me when I am old and almost dead. I think that is one of the motivating factors, if I had to be honest, for why a lot of people have babies. But, I'm not one to judge. You procreate however you choose to procreate, if and when. But for me, I thought that maybe my sister's baby would change my opinion. Seeing this love and this beautiful thing and this world and life that they've created, and this kind of connection with a little thing that you essentially mold to grow. I thought maybe seeing my sister do that would make me go, oh, oh, Jess, maybe it's not too hard. Maybe you could do it or you want to do it. No, I have never been more reaffirmed in my life of my choices and my belief system. And hey, if I decide to change my opinion in 10 years, 15 years, I'll just buy a robot. And my friend Nick and I, we were talking about kids the other day, and I said to him, oh, who's going to look after me when I get old? That's the only motivating factor. And he's like, don't worry about it. AI is going to cover you. Or worst case, we'll adopt a baby together. We'll put it through medical school to be a nurse or a doctor. And then that will just look after us. Incredible. Fixed. Don't you think that's an amazing idea? He and I will get together, pool all of our money, and we will just essentially put someone through university, and they can just look after us together, and we'll just live in a little old age home together with personal care. I think that's an incredible solve to that problem. So there's really no need for you to have a child if you don't really, really want to, because otherwise you're just putting another person in this world. And 1, we're overpopulated. 2, it's not even that much fun. I don't even have to tell you that twice. And 3, if you can avoid being the person who's obviously so overwhelmed with having a child or your life that you don't change the toilet roll, yeah, let's do that. Let's make sure we have less of those people in this world. Hate to be that girl to say it, but that's the truth. The other thing that happened for me this week, I actually got a haircut. Many of you can't see it. Now, for a long time, I have been having my hair cut by my friend Ramesh, who is a visual artist. So no, he has no qualifications in the world of hairdressing. But he did have the qualification of he would do it for free. And for me, that was enough said. I've had a couple haircuts in my day. Now, there was a whole trend with the whole curly girl thing. Don't know if you're across it. If you have curly hair, you have most likely heard of the whole concept of curly girl. Now with TikTok, with Instagram, all of these visual platforms, I have seen a bit of a rise in, oh my God, I know this means nothing to any of you, but the electricity have switched on. I just saw a light switch on, and we had been rocking with au natural lighting, as I mentioned, because they were fixing the electricity. Now, either there's a ghost in just one light bulb in my room, or we are rocking with some fresh electricity. And my battery charge is on for my computer. Incredible. God, Benjamin Franklin, thank you so much for your service, not to America, but to the broader community of the entire world. Anyway, so I've had a couple of haircuts. Now, in the past, when curly girl method became a whole big thing, people started cutting people's hair when it was dry. No worries. Let's kind of get amongst that. And I am the sort of person that if you sound like you know what you're talking about, I'm buying in. I'm cashing in all my chips. I'm rocking with whatever you're putting out there. Fine, let's go. But the last couple of haircuts I got before I went to my friend Ramesh, they just made me look like mullets. Like I was doing mullets and doing mullets. That sounds like how people go do donuts in their car. I just kept looking like I had this mullet, and no shade to the people who actively choose to purchase the mullet haircut. But I was going in there with, $175 and asking for a nice haircut that looked good on my face, not a mullet, because I already have a bit of a kind of, I don't want to say aggressive. I'm going to say I already have a bit of a masculine energy to me quite naturally, to the point where most people assume I'm gay. No worries. Love that. Thank you so much. But it means that the haircut can't be a mullet. That's what it means for me. And not to buy into, all the bullshit of conventional masculinity, femininity, gender roles, and, heteronormative wank, wank, wank. But yeah, I do want you to think I'm a pretty, pretty girl. I do want to be not to be, they put earrings on a baby to be this one's a girl. I am at that stage in my gender journey without sounding psychotic. But I do at the moment want you to look at me and identify me as a woman. So do I want a curly haired mullet that most of the time when I'm running or sweating sticks to the sides of my face and the forehead? No, I don't. I want a nice haircut that's going to frame my face, which I hate to say because that is a phrase that old people say. Oh, you get a nice haircut, you just frame your face. Shut the fuck up. But yeah, I'm old now, so I want a haircut that frames my goddamn face. So when I go get a haircut and I've saved all my little pennies and my split ends are almost up to my earlobe, I want you to let me walk out of there feeling like a little bit of a pretty girl, not like I have to be like, oh, thanks, when I'm looking in the mirror, in the back mirror to the front mirror of the hairdresser. I love how they do that. They show you the mirror behind you to look at yourself in the mirror in that cape that is the least flattering thing I've ever seen. You would think we've been doing haircuts for a while. They would have kind of upgraded or styled that garbage bag that they shove over your face like a sausage casing. I've never felt uglier when I'm at a hairdresser or on the dating apps. Those are the two places that I feel most ugly. So I went and got a haircut. Now, my friend Ramesh, who was cutting my hair, he was doing a good job. No shade to him. But it was reflective. The quality of the haircut was reflective of the fact that he had no official skills. He used one kind of comb and one kind of pair of scissors. He cut my hair wet or dry, whatever he was in the mood for. And I am almost convinced that he was cutting the hair in a way that made him laugh, not that made me look good. And sometimes those conflicting interests will influence and color how something is done. So I go to get my hair cut, and I go to this place, and it's actually really good, right? It's amazing. The haircut was unmatched, if I'm really honest with you. I walk in and I'm in gym gear because I was running around all day, and I hadn't stopped to have the thought, you're going to Newtown. Now, if you aren't from Sydney or you don't know any Sydney stereotypes, Newtown is the kind of Brooklyn, kind of hipster, trendy mullet birthplace in some capacity, or maybe rebirth of Sydney. Every single city has a place like this. It's where all the, the cool, sometimes often rich kids go to cosplay as like middle class, and it's all the thrift shops. It's a very cool place, right? I go and look like shit. And it's not look like shit in a cool way where you've bought like a $500 ripped jumper. It's like, no, I'm wearing Kmart Anko brand jumper, sweaty, gross. And I go get this haircut. And it was a great experience. The only thing that pissed me off is I asked dumb questions. I'll be the first to tell you that. I will admit it through and through. But don't talk to me like I am dumb. Just because I'm acting dumb doesn't mean you call me dumb with your words and your tone and your attitude. So I said to the hairdresser, I was like, what do I do about my hair, like when it's oily? Because sometimes it looks oily. And she goes, if it's oily, you wash it. Excuse me. I said, yeah, but on TikTok, she goes, da, 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 da. Who are these people that are giving you recommendations on TikTok? One, what are their qualifications? And two, do they even have curly hair? So why are they giving you recommendations for your curly hair? I said, great points all around, ma'am. But at the same time, don't speak to me like I'm dumb, because I am. So maybe have some goddamn respect and speak to me like I'm just average, not all the way dumb. And my thing with the haircut experience, I think really at the core of this anger, of this frustration, is that the haircut experience has not been improved. I don't know when the hairdressing salon vibe, etiquette, lifestyle began. However, I don't think we have really improved. It feels like we created the hairdressing environment and then we went, well, that's done. Why are we focusing on getting a man to the moon again, or in space, or growing life on Mars if we can't even manage a decent haircut without the most uncomfortable vibe I've ever experienced? One, you put me in a trash bag that makes me look revolting. Two, you wet my hair so I look like a rat who got drowned in a fucking water pool. Three, now I have to make small talk with you. And the thing with the small talk, I know small talk is a part of life, okay? I am not saying that all small talk should be eradicated, but it just feels like the small talk when you're meeting someone for the first time. I mean, I felt like I was on a date. Okay? It's like, so what do you do? Now, keep in mind, I'm thrown by the fact that I look ugly in an environment where they all look incredible, because I didn't even think, I thought, I'm just going to get a haircut. I have to shower after because I'm going to have shards of hair all over me. Nope. These people look like they're going from their haircut to Fashion Week. That's what the people, the clients, and the employees look like Fine. So I'm already thinking, well, you look like shit, right? Also, now we're getting to know each other for the first time while she's massaging my scalp. What the fuck are you talking about? Why are your nails deep in my scalp while you're making small talk with me? Oh, so what do you do? So I'm not capable of showing my personality at this point because I am just kind of reassociating into my body. As soon as I walked in there, realized where the fuck I was and what I was about to go through, my body hits the roof. I disassociate. So I'm now coming back into my body and she's got her claws in my scalp. And I haven't really shown my personality yet because I've just been trying to remember that I have to be breathing in and out. And when I tell her I'm a comedian, you bet she makes the sound that makes every one of us. When we tell you that we're a comedian and you go, oh, that's a red flag. That means we haven't done anything yet to show you that we could potentially be a funny person. Woof. Woof, woof, woof. Watch out. That is the worst sound. The only response when I tell you that I'm a comedian is you go, oh my God, of course I see it. You're so funny. Bar that, everything else is offending me. So now she's kind of trying to politely be like, oh, that's interesting. And I say, well, yeah, I'm a comedian. I know I haven't really shown much of my personality yet. And she's like, oh, I'm sure it's fine. Oh, God, help me. The haircut continues. And, it becomes a bit more comfortable. Again, like a first date, you get a couple drinks in you get a couple, snips under your belt, and we're vibing a little bit. What do you do for fun? Blah, blah, blah. She tells me she's got a partner and they've got some cats. I tell her my parents have a dog. All the things that you go through on a first date. And that's when I asked the question about the oily hair situation, and that's when she really made me feel like an idiot. But I just think that the overall experience of the haircut needs to be worked upon and improved upon. I just really can't understand why we are still, in this day and age, sitting in that awkward, weird silence. And hey, I'm pretty good at making small talk. I'm talking to you guys with barely a breath betwixt my words. So I can talk to many different people. But there is just something about the haircut that is so utterly unbecoming and uncomfortable. And the end of the haircut, that reveal where they have been chopping, and they bring that back mirror and then you don't know what the fuck you're about to see. I mean, at least in this situation, it was a good outcome. I was so shook by getting a good haircut that I was literally speechless. I was like, oh, I just kept saying, it looks cute, which is not really a compliment. I don't know how I feel about the word cute. I know Americans use it like, oh my God, that's so cute. No, that's not a thing. And I just was so shocked. I was like, God, this looks cute. This is so cute. Oh my God. And then I've thought about messaging her to be like, hey, by the way, I like the haircut. And then I just thought, too much. It was a first date. I think at the next haircut, you have a bit of foundation laid. So now the second, third, fourth haircut in your life is a bit more comfortable and a bit easier to build that foundation on. So I guess my message here is about the haircut is kind of like a first date. Like, you got to go back a couple times at least to get the verbal more comfortable. If the haircut's terrible, never go back. And that was my mistake before. I kept going back to the same person who gave me a mullet every time. And I was like, is this thing on? Like, did I ask for a mullet? Did I black out and you heard mullet, please, when I said, make me look hot? But being treated like an idiot when you are one there's nothing more depressing than that. The other thing that's happened this week, it was my family and I, we're gearing up, right? We're gearing up to go on another family holiday. Now, the Fuchs family goes on a little holiday maybe once a year. It started during COVID when we were allowed to travel and there was nothing to do. We were like, let's go on a little family holiday for, I think it was my mum's birthday. And see, now, I have always been single in the family dynamic. That is what you need to know. Those are the facts. Within the Fuchs family dynamic, I am perpetually single, and it keeps my mother up late at night. And to show her concern, to show the family's general lack of respect for my singledom, every single time we have gone away, I get stuck in a bunk bed, in a single bed, in some sort of environment that reflects their lack of respect for my sexual status. And let me be clear, I'm not out here swatting away good dick. No, I'd love to bring a +1 to a wedding, to a family gathering, not because I'm looking for a partner, but nay, just to be in a normal queen-size bed for once. That's why I'm looking for a boyfriend. Not for the companionship, not for the love of my life. I don't believe in soulmates or weddings, but what I do believe in is a queen-size bed that I should get to sleep in despite the fact that I am single. So I'm gearing up. We're going to go away in a couple of weeks, and I look forward to seeing what sort of bed I get pushed into. But the last holiday, I'm reflecting on the last few just because as I kind of mentally prepare myself for the one coming up. Now, I do think the thing with anger and with any good emotion is sometimes time passes and we lose some of the fight we had in us, the sadness that we felt, the excitement. It's become dulled or numb to some degree. And I want to make sure that in moments of anger and frustration, I hold on to some of that feeling and capture that in video or audio form so that I can then play it on this podcast and reflect upon the feelings. Have the feelings changed? What are the feelings? What was I thinking at the time? So I am trying to capture more anger moments in situ as they happen and bring them as secondary source. Now, what's primary source? I studied history in school, and whenever we were quoting an essay or quoting someone in an essay, we had to have a variety of sources. I have never felt smarter. Thank God, because at the start of this, I sound like a fucking moron. So primary source is, oh God, now I'm about to sound dumb again. Primary source is from someone who was there at the time. I need to check this. I'm just going to Google this because then a secondary source is like someone who heard about the thing. This better pay off. Secondary source history. A secondary source is a document or record that relates or discusses information originally presented elsewhere. Right. So am I a secondary source? Would me playing this video be a secondary source? Primary source, history. Here we go. Thank God for Google. I mean, honestly, the good thing about Google is 100 years ago, I wouldn't have had Google, but also I would have been a woman who wouldn't have known how to read. So you would have thought I was dumb by default. Now I have to talk for long enough that you figure out I'm stupid. And if that isn't progress in history and women's rights, I don't really know what is. Now, primary source is an artifact, document, diary, manuscript, autobiography, recording. Fuck yeah, guys. I'm bringing you a primary source. Now, I'm bringing you a primary source of me talking to camera when I was last on a family holiday. And I'm bringing that today because I do have anger toward being put in the bunk beds and the single beds and the outhouses like a common animal. And I do have I'm grateful for being, my parents paying for a little 2-day holiday for me and my family to go and sit around doing the same thing we would do if we sat here. Love it. New environment, new smells and sounds to do the same old Fuchs family thing, which is sit around and talk shit. But, would I like a bed that if I put my arms out, I didn't touch either side? Sure. Now, this is my review from the last time we were away, and I haven't looked back at this yet. So we'll see. I just remember being in bed and thinking, yeah, this checks out,
Good evening. It's midnight, and I just wanted to say that I'm the only child in my family who doesn't have a sexual partner. And so whenever we go on like a little family trip, I always get the kids' room. So tonight I am sleeping in a bunk bed. And they didn't have a proper cot for my sister's baby, so they just took the mattress from the room, like above me, like in the bunk bed. So now, I don't know what you guys travel like with your families, but this is me. This is my experience. This is my lived experience.
Oh my God, I forgot that happened. So my sister had her baby, and this was the second trip we'd gone on with her baby, her little like sperm pet being alive. And you have to like really insulate this baby so it doesn't die, because they can just roll around, I guess. I was not super aware of this. Now, oh my God, I'm having like Vietnam flashbacks remembering this trip. We go on this trip and the cot that was provided by the house was rickety. I mean, I wouldn't even put a grape in that thing because it looked like it was going to fall. So we had to makeshift a little cot for this baby to sleep in. So I was on a bunk bed and they took the other mattress. And it's like, hey, I get that your kid's important, but at some point I've also been alive more than she has. So shouldn't I get first preference to keep living? You barely know her. You should protect, serve, love me more, have more loyalty to me. But anyway, so we take one of the mattresses out and we create like a little cave for the baby to survive in her room. So then I'm in this room by myself with one single bed in a bunk bed. I mean, that's a bit heartbreaking, isn't it? I used to love the idea of a bunk bed. My sister and I shared a room for a while, and had I seen the movies Step Brothers during my youth, I would have forced my sister to manufacture a bunk bed with our beds on top of each other so that we could just sleep on top of each other. I'd love that idea. So, I think the thing is, if you are someone out there who is the only single one in your family unit, I salute you and I see how hard it is, not for the idea of not having someone in your life, but just for the consolation prizes that you always get. It's like every single place we go, they all sit next to each other and you just get thrown to the wolves to fight for your own seat, musical chairs style. You find your own seat, they help each other, you get lost. You get lost in the flurry of it all. So I think for this next holiday, I would like to throw it to you guys. If anyone wants to come along, we might end up having to share bunk beds, but I mean, at least that's good. At least it's sharing a bunk bed. Anyone who goes and chooses to sleep in the top bunk of an empty bottom bunk bed situation should reevaluate their choices, because I think that is the most mentally ill red flag that I've ever heard of. And I do know I have heard people say that they prefer the top bunk. But if you're picking the top bunk when you have any other choice but to go bottom, if you can pick bottom bunk and you actually actively sleep top bunk, you are mentally ill. I've gone before in hostels when I've traveled, and I will always leave a note. Please put me in the bottom bunk. I don't want to have to climb on top of someone rickety ass hostel, like ladder, and there's always, oh my God, triggering, like taking me back to traveling everywhere and anywhere that I've ever been. And I would always go hostels because obviously, and these people would like shake the ladder as they come up, or they'd put their towels over the top bunk, which then drips down onto the bottom. I used to be such a courteous hostel goer. I remember once I ate a cracker in the shower because half of the people were asleep in the room. And then you start hearing people like doing whatever they do. Anyway. So that was my week, right? My week was kind of hairdresser, planning for a family holiday. What else has been going on? I am someone who has forever been kind of a voice of reason amongst my friends and family. People bring their issues to me. They bring them forward and I rule on them and I give some thoughts and feelings. And this is no different, this podcast, because here's what I'll say about anger. As I mentioned at the start, it feels like we're in this environment, in this landscape where people feel the need to soften their anger, to fix their anger, to therapize their anger, which in some ways I understand. But what I want to bring forward is I want you to feel adequately angry if that is what is in your heart. And sometimes people downplay their anger or they go too hard. We do need to find that sweet spot. So I asked close friends today for this first episode if they have some stuff that pisses them off, because I'd like to kind of unpack their feelings and see if it's valid or if they're too angry or they're not angry enough. Because I find that balance is quite hard to strike. Now, one submission I had, which I'd like to unpack with you guys, is I hate when people park over the driveway. Simple, but so much at the same time, isn't it? So simple. Parking over someone's driveway is at the core evil. It's not right. You're sick if you do that. You're selfish if you do that. You're thoughtless if you do that. Because unless it's an emergency, you have no right to be on my fucking driveway. And not to sound like a Karen about it, I think I've just been burned. I've been burned because here's what happens. Someone parks on your driveway, and the first time you go, oh, so sorry, I have to actually leave to work. And they go, oh, yeah. The next time you go, sorry, I actually have to park the car in the garage because I don't have a sticker for this street, so that I'll get a fine, whatever. And you're now apologizing for being in the right. And the third time and the fourth time, and then throughout the kind of data statistics I'm pulling forward and discussing, you get some people who start to go, well, fuck you. I just need to pull my car over. And you go, yeah, your car's been here for 45 minutes, son. So it's not just pulling it over, dog. It's making a life in this space. It's settling down. It's putting roots in my driveway. So they're now being a dick to you and you go, oh, okay, yeah, I understand. It's frustrating. This street doesn't have a lot of parking. Sorry, do you mind just moving? I'm going to work. So now people are starting to get rude and you're starting to get mad. So now you're in this kind of anger spiral that the next person who parks on your driveway gets absolute fucking hell from you. And that's where I'm at in my driveway journey. So when someone says to me, I get angry when someone parks my driveway, hell yeah, you do. Because it's incredibly fucking frustrating. And I don't mean to be insensitive. I'm sure there are 1,000 reasons someone needs to park on my driveway for that moment in their life, and I'll excuse that. But at the end of the day, get the fuck off my driveway. And there are bigger problems in the world, sure. Sure, you're right. There are so many bigger, more important things, but at the same time, get off my fucking driveway or I will shoot you in the head. That's not true. I don't have a gun. All I will do is use very feral language when I see you pop up. Because similar to the haircut situation, if you're in the wrong, just because I said something stupid at the haircut, don't treat me like an idiot. If you've parked over my driveway, don't be rude to me that you've done something wrong. You've done something wrong. Now, if you turn around and you go, oh, I'm so sorry, I just had to drop my grandma's soup. You see, she's 150 and she's really sick and I make soup that makes sure that she stays healthy. I'd be like, oh my God, of course, your old grandmother needs soup. Go, be with her, give her the liquids, provide for that family member. But if you are being a piece of shit and you parked on my driveway, oh, I'm going to tell you to suck my dick and walk into my house. That's what I'm going to do. I so often think about scratching someone's car or putting a nail in the tire, but I've never done it. I've never actually done it. But I think we all think those things, right? I hope so. So I think in terms of when it comes to the ruling of whether or not being angry at parking over driveway is appropriate, I'm going to say absolutely. However, I would say I think upon reflection of my own behavior, I should internalize that a bit more and come at each person that parks on the driveway with a clean slate and maybe a sharp nail. Because I could use my words to be polite, but I could use my actions to be absolutely savage. So that's maybe something I'll take into the next week is, Jess, maybe you outwardly present more polite and you go, oh, no worries, no worries. Yeah, it is no worries because I put a bunch of fucking nails in the back of your tire, son. I'll see you in 6 meters when your car conks out. How long does it take for a tire to actually need to be replaced if you put a nail in it? I'd like for them to get to the top of my one-way street and maybe take a left or a right so they don't block up the traffic on my street. I'll have a think about that one. I don't think I would actually put nails in tires. I don't even know how to change a tire, and I know that doesn't make me a particularly good woman, but I think if I was to stop on a highway because my tire popped, broke, I'd just die there. I'm not too fussed on that one. There are certain things that I go, yeah, I'm tapping out at that point. I'm not fighting that hard to stay in this life. A tire popping is end of it. It is end of the road for me. And I wouldn't hitchhike because, I mean, obviously we know everyone gets murdered hitchhiking. So I think we feel we've got an adequate ruling on that front. I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling G'd up and feeling angry. But I don't want you to always walk... Look, I would be happy if you walked away from listening to this more angry. Because as you know, I feel good in anger. But I'd also be happy if you walked away feeling angry. Because that makes me angry that you don't feel angry. And therefore I'm happy. So either way, the equation of this podcast ends with all of us being, say it with me now, hangry, happy and angry. So I'm happy and angry. There is no losing out. What I have coming up. Look, I've always got shows, so if you happen to be in Sydney, come see some shows. I am going to do some additional segments where you can write in, voice note me, carry a pigeon of the things that are pissing you off. We might even do a call-in segment. You can call up and we can have a chat about what makes you angry. But really the easiest and most modern version of that is if you just send me voice notes of anything pissing you off. If there's a situation that's got you riled up, feel free to voice note me. Doors are always open, and by door I mean Instagram DMs. My physical door is shut for soundproofing this room. I don't know, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I will be putting out episodes weekly. I'll have some guests here and there. The sunlight is starting to shine through. I am overheating just on the left thigh. For those of you who cannot see me, the windows were open because we didn't have any science, technology, electricity at the start of this episode. But by the end, God has shone upon us. Benjamin Franklin has shoneth upon us and has turned the electricity back on, and I feel like a modern fucking woman. And if that isn't everything we hope and pray for, I don't know what is. Thank you for listening. For those of you who made it to the end, oh my God, good on you. This is stunning. I'll see you next time. And catch you later. Bye.